What's going on, Late Show Hexicans? Just finalizing some things. We'll be with you shortly. In the meantime, listen to some Hodl Tog lo-fi beats.
Yeah, hey, yeah. Shout to day 43, yo, that's the OG. Hex, crypto, big payday, you gon' see. Yo, it's November 19, that's the day they predict. Every time I spit, I bring the craziest shit. Shout to day 43, yo, that's the OG. Hex, crypto, big payday, you gon' see. Yo, it's November 19, that's the day they predict. Every time I spit, I bring the craziest shit.
Man, thank goodness.
Harder to justify what the hell we're doing here, man.
He's phony, she's fake. That's the type of people I hate.
Yo, y'all know the lyrics. Come on, sing with me. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yam, shimmy, yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Off on the natural charge, bon voyage. Yeah, from the home of the dog.
Man, it's unwrecked. Thank goodness.
Welcome to the Hex Late Show. It's 43 OG here. There we go. We've got some Mount Franklin sparkling water here. That's the stuff. All right. What's going on, guys? What's going on? I've got a few things lined up tonight. I'm by myself. I think someone's coming along a bit later on. Maybe I think maybe Jexa, if he can get off the squash court. So I've got a few things to get through tonight. So the first thing I want to bring up, first thing I want to say is, how are you going, guys in the chat? Guys and girls in the chat, how are we? I've got all the regulars here, all the usual suspects. T-Bird, Crypto Phil, Crypto Claz, Dawsey 78. I've got Degen Dougie, Besso. Is it Besso? Besso, isn't it? I'm going to say Besso. Par Excellence. Dingo Wolf, Mango Junkie. Hexin SB, Dean DK, Hex Sighted, Tiger, Steve, Mech 1966. I always feel like saying Steve McLovin when I read that for some unknown reason. D Hexagon, Sandip, Heart 420, Red Squirrel, Ash, CP, Finn Bear, Logan's Run, Chaztown Town, Barely Crafty, my goodness. Barely Crafty. Where have you been, buddy? Where have you been, Barely Crafty? Where has Barely Crafty been? Dude, we have to get in touch, mate. What's been going on? What's been going on? It's been too long. So I want to start off with, I want to touch on what's going on in Australia. The ANZ Bank, this has happened last week. The ANZ Bank came out in the last week, and well, I'll just read it out to you. The ANZ, one of Australia's big four banks, will cease facilitating withdrawals and deposits from a number of its Australian branches as it looks to push its customers towards using an ever-dwindling number of ATMs and deposit machines. The decision has received pushback, with critics such as Patricia Sparrow, CEO of the Council of the Aging, telling The Australian that the change could disproportionately affect older people who are less capable of going digital. That is a reason. That is one reason, one of the many reasons, but not at the top of my list. Not at the top of my list, although definitely on the list. It inconveniences those who are not, living in the digital age. But it also inconveniences those of us who don't want third parties knowing how many Snickers bars we buy on a daily basis. And that's just the least of it. But so ANZ has made a jump. They're going in that direction. They are, moving towards a world where preparing us for a CB DC, central bank digital currency. They are preparing us for it 100%. That's what they want. But, it's I don't think it's great for the people. I don't think that's great. You want to have option. Ideally you want to have option. You want to be able to pay for something in cash if that makes it easy for you. If you want to pay with a card, you pay with a card. Or you do a direct transfer or whatever. But you want options, right? You want options. You don't want your options to be cut off to you. That's the way I feel about it, right? So, but I've got this. This is from some. I think it's from Fox News in the US. It's a clip, so I'll just play this.
One of the bedrocks of freedom is freedom to do financial transactions, including privately, or freedom to do where you want to do and wherever you want to do. And unfortunately, as the financial system has become more and more digital, you see more and more not only invasive surveillance, but more and more controls. You referred to Canada, perfect example. And the reality, as the financial system gets more controlling and more invasive, it's a little bit like bringing up a corral around us. And CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and vaccine passports or digital IDs are sort of the last shutting of the gate. It's hard for many people to imagine the risks here because we're so used to living with financial transaction freedom, and we don't understand that when this gate closes on us, we literally will be sitting in a system where the central banks believe that our assets belong to them, and they can dictate where we can spend money and what we can spend money on. The important thing to understand is central bank digital currencies are not currencies. It gives the ability for the central bankers, and they've said this publicly, the ability to not only set the rules centrally, but enforce the rules centrally.
That's it. We don't really want that, do we? We don't really want a system where if we don't behave, they can turn off our money. You know, and by behave, if we don't do what they say, you know, if you don't do what they say, you know, I'm a true believer in it. Your body is, it's your right, you know? So going back a couple of years, we had this big situation. We all know what I'm talking about, the dreaded Android 19. But I'm a firm believer in, you know, you make your own choice, right? You make your own choice. But just imagine a system where, and there was coercion in places like Australia, but just imagine a system where if you don't do what they say, they just turn off your money. They just turn it off. Just think about that. Think about how much that just the idea of that sucks, right? But just think about that in practice. If you decide that you don't want to do what they say, and in this particular case, we're talking about, you know, taking a medicine. And I'm not against medicines, by the way. I'm not against them at all. At all. Not against that stuff. I'm for it. I just like a bit more research, usually, a bit more time to pass. But yeah, you want to make your own decisions, right? And you don't want to be coerced into doing anything. So this is a step in. I personally, I have some dealings with that bank, but I'm going to be moving my stuff away from that bank. Not because it's just I don't believe in supporting companies that have shitty policies like that aren't in the best interests of people. That's like a shitty policy, you know. And a few of you will know, like a few weeks back, I went to buy a bread knife to cut my sourdough. And at the store, the lady didn't accept cash. And although I had a card in my wallet, on the principle, I decided not to buy that bread knife because they didn't accept cash. Because I think that places should accept cash. And, you know, it was the whole, you know, once again, we don't handle cash anymore. It's like, come on, you know. So I voted with my wallet, and that's what everyone should do. That's a power that we have, at least at this point in time. We can still decide not to buy stuff or spend our money or support businesses that do things that, you know, aren't in our interests. What's next? I've got another clip here. So we listened to a clip from this guy the other day, I think maybe last week. And this is another clip, and it's about de-dollarization. So you guys have probably noticed that in the last week or so, there's been all these deals of countries like, you know, Russia, China, South Africa, like all these BRICS nations deciding to do business in like, not in the US dollar. So excluding the US dollar. So it's just interesting that this is going to have an effect on you know, the Western world for sure. But I don't think we really know what effect that's going to be. But this is an interesting clip.
After yesterday's video, I had a question. What does de-dollarization mean for the rest of the world? Broadly speaking, it's bad. The reason is, say you're dating a nice boy and you meet somebody better. Maybe it's gold, maybe it's Bitcoin, maybe it's a gold-backed currency like the Swiss franc used to be. Well, that's a good thing. I mean, it's bad for the old boyfriend, but it's good for you and it's certainly good for the new guy. On the other hand, let's say your boyfriend's turned into a monster. He takes you to McDonald's on your birthday. He doesn't even get you a sundae. He drinks too much. He complains about your carbon footprint. He gambles with a rent check. In that bad boyfriend scenario, all those foreigners selling their previously dreamy dollars, now they take a hit on the way out, a little kick in the butt to send them on their way to whatever loser will take them in, the next best store of value. The first sellers take a small hit, maybe 1%. The last sellers take a big hit, and this is why the rush accelerates. So where do they go? Some will shift out of fiat currency altogether to gold or Bitcoin or commodities or something else. This is because once money's on the move, it's temporarily easier to put it somewhere interesting. The transaction costs are temporarily relatively low. And of course, some countries will remain in the abusive relationship, either because they live next door like Mexico, so it would be really awkward breaking up. They have to use dollars whether they like it or not. Or because they're desperate. It was so good, they just want things to be the way they were. You paying hundreds of billions propping up NATO or bailing out their banks every tequila crisis. Still, the vast majority of flight will be to other fiat currencies, to the euro or yen or the UK pound or some other currency that's also afflicted by an inflationary central bank using the inflation, recession, bailout cycle to usurp the liberties and fortunes of their people. What would that most likely scenario look like? Well, today the US makes up about 60% of foreign exchange reserves, while the euro, yen, and pound together make up about 30%. China is 3%. But going by GDP, the US should be about 25%, not 60%. The euro, yen, and pound should be about 23%, a little bit lower than today. That's because these currencies are quasi-reserve currencies, especially for some neighboring countries. And China should be about 12%. About 4 times higher than it is today. So if it's a fiat free-for-all, we'd expect the US share to trend down towards its GDP share, losing about half of foreign demand. Then if the US is particularly bad, say if the US government weaponizes the dollar to conduct proxy wars or bully other countries, that percent could keep sliding into the gutter with the Chinese yuan, implying about a 90% drop in foreign demand for the dollar, a proper rush for the exits. By the way, these changes in reserve currency have happened many times in history, in fact about every 100 years, meaning we're due, counting from World War I, when the dollar took over. The most recent being when the dollar replaced the pound after the Bank of England jumped off a cliff to finance World War I. That was definitely a bad boyfriend scenario. It was the same with the franc after the French Revolution, another very bad boyfriend. Then the Dutch guilder, which was an okay boyfriend, but it was targeted by sociopathic pickup artists in London and Paris. You might argue this is the China scenario today, although that's only part of it. The dollar has definitely not been a very good boyfriend. In fact, you'd have to go back to the Dutch guilder in the 1600s or Venice in the 1300s to get a proper good boyfriend scenario, as each took over from inflationary regimes in, respectively, the Spanish Empire and the gamble with the rent check Florentine Republic. Meanwhile, back here in 2023, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Bit of history there. Now, Richard Hart has been on on Twitter tweeting as usual, but he's got some updates for us. So let me bring that up. Where are we? Hang on, just bear with me 1 second. Get rid of that. There we go. We have a PulseChain update. Always welcome. So PulseChain news, peering is looking good. So peering, I believe, has to do with when you're running a validator node, whether your validator is seeing others on the network. So peering is, I believe that's what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Correct me if I'm wrong. Peering is looking good. PulseX has had lots of dependency updates. So pretty soon, other features can be rolled out. Private test DevNet is testing the increased inflation. Scroll down. Validators are using command line flags to make peering work well. When the boot nodes are updated, they won't need to do that. Each client has a different way of setting up their own ENR records and how they maintain them. All right, I won't keep reading any of this because I think it's a bit beyond me and maybe a few of you guys. But interesting for us to look in the top corner of Twitter. There is a Doge. There, look at that. The bird's not there. We've got like, Elon has put like a dog, Dogecoin logo up there. And what's funny about that is let me just close this. What's funny about that is if we go to, let me just go to, let me bring that back up. And we'll go to nomics.com and go have a look. Oh no, look at this. Dear Nomics user, unfortunately, we are sunsetting this website effective today. Thank you for using nomics.com over the years. We want to extend our sincerest appreciation to our users. It's been a pleasure to serve you. We do this with a heavy heart, and we are not taking this step lightly. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause you. Oh, that's sad. It's a shame. I wonder why they went down. Oh well. Shit happens. We also have some news coming out of The reason I went to Nomics is because I wanted to see a let's go to Coin Paprika, hey? Actually, you know what? I saw Crypto Vince tweet about a new site, which I'll check out. Let me bring this new site up. It's called what is it called? It's called Mobula.fi. Mobula.fi. And HEX is number 5 on this one. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the 24-hour volume and Bitcoin. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But number 5 on this website, on this aggregator, if we jump over to Coin Paprika, we'll see that HEX is at number 7, sitting on 7.9 cents with a market cap of 17 billion. And I always like to say, hey, we're sitting on number 7, but just bear in mind that Tether and USD really, I mean, I don't think it's worth counting them. You know, that's not really crypto. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like it. And Dogecoin in the last 24 hours has pumped 28, in the last 7 days, 37%, but in the last 24 hours, 28.26%. Thank you, Elon. Thank you, Elon. That's what all the Dogecoin people are saying right now. We need to get a HEX logo or a PulseChain logo up that top corner of that bitch. Pump. Let's pump our shit. Come on, Elon. Let's do it, brother. Okay, now some other shit that's been going on, some cool shit, which I always like to give them a shout out. Shout out to Steph and Firebun from Staker App. These guys have been working diligently for feels like a while now, maybe a year or two, putting V2 together, Staker App version 2. And this was tweeted earlier today. Version 2 should be available for the first Android users within hours. As mentioned previously, the app will be rolled out gradually over the next few days. Exciting. iOS often takes more time to deploy. We'll keep you updated. So that's awesome. Finally, version 2, Staker App version 2. I honestly believe Staker App is the best experience, like for the average person who's getting into crypto. If you're onboarding people, I feel like Staker App is like the easiest way to onboard people, in my opinion. It's just easy for them. They've got like an app on their phone. It's it uses Gnosis Safe. I just think that there's a lot of good things going for it. They can swap stuff on the app itself. So I've always been a big fan of Staker App, and I can't wait to see what V2 brings. They've definitely been talking about it for a while, and working on it for a long while. And I've got it. My understanding is that they're gonna, like all the other tokens are gonna show up now. So because traditionally it's been on the Staker App, it's been HEX, Ethereum, and USDC. So I think that's being opened up now to show a whole lot of other tokens. Right. Now, what else do we have? Okay, moving on. I saw this tweet which has a clip from Matt Taibbi, and it's got to do with the legislation that they are planning to roll out. So I'll just play that. It's from, I believe it's from an interview with Russell Brand. So if you guys can just tell me, just confirm that you can hear this clip.
Since we found a whole bunch of communications just recently about in preparation for a hubbub they were all having at the Aspen Institute in 2021, where they were discussing ideas like the Restrict Act, which is being proposed for, in response to TikTok. There's, I guess, the European Digital Services Act, or whatever they call it, that they're thinking about for the EU. All the ideas in both of these bills are sort of wish lists that have been passed around in this community for a long time. The governments want absolute, full and complete access to all data that these platforms provide. And then they want a couple of other things that are really important. They want to have the authority to come in and moderate, or at least be part of the process of moderation. And they also want for people who are called like trusted flaggers. That's how it's described in the European law. They want those folks to have access to these platforms as well. And what they mean by that are these sort of outside quasi-governmental agencies who tell these platforms what they can and cannot print about things like vaccine safety, right? And then we found out more about that, where they're openly talking about censoring true information. So yeah, we're still finding out a lot of stuff about this, and I think there is more to find, unfortunately, which is kind of disturbing. After that, they have people they call trusted partners, who determine for them, who are allowed to make determinations about content, or whose determinations they will take seriously. So yeah, I mean, this is all it's straight out of 1984. All this stuff. If you look at the Digital Services Act, it's a lot like the recommendations of the Aspen Institute, and it's got a lot in common with the Restrict Act here in the States. when you look at the sections about giving the government access to data, what they really mean by that is they want everything, every kind of content that's created on the platform has to be done in a format that can be algorithmically searched. So even video, or if you have like, you know, something, a conversational platform, they have to be able to automatically generate a transcript quickly so that whatever AI they're attaching to surveil and monitor people has to be able to look out for keywords quickly. And it's funny, we did a thing about this thing called the Virality Project, and they were upset. One of the things they were upset about when they were reviewing COVID information was that a worldwide freedom rally that was held last year, I think, or 2 years ago in Europe, had been organized on Telegram, where they couldn't search it, where they didn't know it was coming. And so, like, that's part of their thinking. We don't want any more of those spaces where we can't search. We want everything searchable, and we want it instantly searchable.
There you go. There you go. They want it searchable. Guys, they want it searchable. Why do they want it searchable? Because they want to shut it down. They want to shut it down on public forums. So just tying into that, sort of, was actually doesn't really tie into that at all. Senator Elizabeth Warren did an interview, and she seems to be, well, is anti-crypto. So I thought, let's listen to Senator Warren talk about, you know, go on about her thoughts on crypto.
And I do want to separate crypto from cryptocurrency.
Sure.
Which is,
what?
If I buy Bitcoin, am I buying a share of stock, or am I buying a pork belly, or am I buying?
Oh, by the way, while you're listening to this Senator Warren interview, prepare to be to feel like dumber by the end of it. You're going to feel stupid by the end of this. Although we're not going to get all the way through it. No way.
Or are you buying air?
Oh, wow. Okay, you're going in. What is it?
I'm going in.
Yeah, what is it?
Because that's the point, is that it's, you're buying something that other people believe either is going to go up in value, presumably that's why you're buying it, or think it's going to go down in value, which is presumably why someone else is selling it.
Yeah, so she's talking about Bitcoin. But that's not why people buy stocks at all, right?
But that's it. It's a bet on whether this ephemeral token will become more valuable or less valuable.
Why isn't it the same as a pork belly? Or let's go with why isn't it platinum or silver? Since there's a finite amount of this, if we just look at Bitcoin, forget it. The idea is that there's a finite amount of Bitcoin that can be created by these computer programs.
Well, sort of.
Do you accept that? No,
actually, I'm not even sure I'm there with you. Look, at the end of the day, with platinum, there's actually a thing, right? With Bitcoin, there's no thing that backs it up, and that's what makes it different. It's just belief. You and I assess. You assess the value is going to go down. I assess it's going to go up, and therefore I buy.
So it's more like this artwork.
No, because at the end of the day, I can hang that thing on my wall,
right?
And I can enjoy it, or I can throw darts at it.
You could sell it for money.
Sure, you can. Right. I mean, there are features about it that are the same, but it's not the same. And look, one of the things we have to remember about, there are a lot of things that come within this crypto world. So, for example, we could be talking about, instead of Bitcoin, we could be talking about digital currency. Now, that's something very different.
I think that's different too. I buy that. I accept that.
That's right, because that's a government-backed electronic transfer.
Government-backed.
And it can be denominated
just what we
in
want,
dollars.
hey?
It can be denominated in euros. It can be denominated in some new language that's made up. But that has something that backs it up. It has a government.
The government backs it up.
If at the end of the day there's a run on this stuff, everybody wants theirs out, The United States government promises there will be something to back it up. And that's what banks are about. There'll be somebody there to back it up. But with
to a limit, though, to a limit. Even the insurance only backs it up to a certain degree, as far as I understand.
Bitcoin, that's not the case. And then, of course, can we do
what? What did she say? Wait a second.
One more category.
We got to go back here.
The United States government promises there will be something to back it up. And that's what banks are about. There'll be somebody there to back it up. But with Bitcoin, that's not the case. And then, of course...
What? What you talking about, Willis? What a load of rubbish. With Bitcoin is the thing that is there. It's like provably, verifiably there. The thing that's not provable or verifiable is the fractional reserve.
Can we do one more
Crazy
category?
Shit.
There's so-called stable coins.
So this is the problem I have with politicians of all sorts, is they will just get on camera and talk in a way that what they're saying is true. And it's just rubbish. Absolute rubbish. You're talking rubbish.
Tries to look like a digital currency.
Felt more like a share of stock.
Well,
some of the ways it's been described.
What stablecoin says, I would describe it much more like a money market. It says we're going to hold our, whatever is the name of it, we're going to have a 1-for-1 with dollars. Mm-hmm. And that way it can be traded on exchanges and you don't have to worry that the value today is...
See, she doesn't even know what she's talking about because that's only one type of stablecoin. There are other types of stablecoin. She's ignorant. She's an ignorant person who's talking about crypto because she wants to defend her shit. I'm not going to go any further in this interview because it's just a waste of... I'm just going to get upset listening to it because these people hold so much power, like in the world, I guess. In the US, she holds a lot of power. She's a senator. But let's take a step back from her for a second, and let me just bring up like a little thing that I have here, and you tell me what you think. Why would she be so against crypto and so for the legacy system? I wonder why. I wonder why. Why would Senator Warren, whose salary is $285,000 a year, but has a net worth of $67 million, why would she be so anti-crypto? Probably because she's trying to defend her shit. She's trying to defend her bags. She's trying to defend the system where she made her money. By the way, I mean, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. I'm not into counting other people's money. But when those people are actively trying to like take away the potential for freedom of the people, and then on the other hand, she's like, making out like a villain. Like, look how she's made $67 million. That's her net worth. Look, as I said, I don't really give a fuck, but to me, there's a conflict there. There's a conflict of interest. You're trying to keep shit the way it was because it's good for your back pocket. No doubt in my mind there. Yeah, I'll get rid of that. So she's definitely got something to do with like the crackdown on, although she's not in the government, she's in the Senate. But she's definitely going to be one of the people who's the driving force behind the just the choke point type stuff that's going on. I saw this tweet here from the Balaji guy. Like, I don't know. By the way, I don't know anything about this Balaji guy. All I know is he made a bet like that Bitcoin's going to be a mil like within a couple of months, 2 or 3 months. But he did a tweet, which I'm going to get up on the screen. And so these are Bitcoin. These are P2P Bitcoin exchanges as backup plans. So the question was, what happens if they block crypto rails? Then P2P Bitcoin exchanges may be a backup plan. So this is just an example of what crypto does and how dynamic it is. Although these things have been here in the past. I mean, BISC has been around for a long time. But there's other ways to skin a cat. If legacy tries to create choke points, then there's going to be other ways to do things. There's going to be other ways, and that's for Bitcoin. But obviously, we play on mainly on Ethereum, I guess, because that's where the HEX ecosystem currently lives. When PulseChain comes out, we're going to be playing on the PulseChain network, and because it's an EVM chain, that chain's going to be able to speak to other chains, and there's a whole lot of decentralized stuff that can go on without needing to go out to those centralized exchanges. So yeah, I think that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a whole lot of like it's regular. It seems like they're trying to push out rules. They want rules that just restrict people's ability to do things freely. Restrict being the word, because that's the thing in the US, the Restrict Act, where like it's sort of I was listening to a Spaces today, and it's kind of crazy how like draconian it would be. I don't know how they could. I really don't know how they could lock that down in that way. Like you can say everything's illegal, right? You can say, oh, this is illegal, that's illegal. This is, you can say that, but how do you enforce it? Like, how do you enforce it in a country of 300 million people? And I know that it's not all 300 million people, perhaps, connecting to foreign servers. But, running like the Restrict Act would, like running a node would be a problem. So, I mean, look, I don't know how that could get through. And luckily, they're not the only people in the, politicians in the US. There's not only people of that persuasion. There's people on the other side. So there's guys like Tom Emmers, and I've got a clip from him now, so I'll play this. And this guy's more on the crypto side of things.
In debt in this country. We've got to figure out how to balance our budget. And then guess what? You want crypto and everything associated with it to grow here, to innovate and grow here, because that will grow the economic pie for everyone. Republicans, Democrats, that's the only way. I'm going to tell you right now, my belief is that's the only way that you can deal with the $32 trillion in debt. The only other way would be to declare the country bankrupt and go into reorganization and tell people that they're going to take haircuts for debts and we're going to pay this back and we're going to prioritize that. This is a company, the United States of America, that has not been managed well. Crypto is a big part of the answer, I believe, in how you grow it.
Crypto is a big part of the answer in how you grow the economy. That's the type of thinking. That's the type of thinking that we need. I like it when people are talking about growing pies rather than, trying to cut stuff off and divide things out. So yeah, I've had a few clips from that guy over the last few months, and I like listening to, when he's talking about crypto. I like listening to that. What else have we got? There was an article here that Richard Hart tweeted out, which I'll put in the chat. You guys can go and have a read of it. And it's a US diplomat to Washington talking about how the US is becoming obsolete in one big area of tech policy, being crypto, blockchain and crypto. So I'll just paste that in there. There you go, guys. But also go onto Twitter and go on to Twitter and click the like on Richard Hart's post. What else did we have? Okay, so there's people out there who provide liquidity, and I know that Tangent likes to do that type of stuff, and there is this impermanent loss calculator, which was posted on Twitter. There we go, impermanent loss, and it's imp-loss.vercel.app, and then you can so if you're providing liquidity, this can help you do calculations. Let's say you invested 10,000 or 1,000, initial token price 0.1. That's initial token price A. Initial token price B, just say, is 45, and future token price 0.05 and 0.40. Right. And that apparently gives you some useful information if you're a liquidity provider. So I thought that was worth mentioning, because I know a lot of you guys do that sort of stuff. Okay. So yeah, I'll put that in the chat as well. There we go. And what else have we got? I might be at the end of my list. So let me go to the chat. Where is the chat? You go back. I'm gonna scroll all the way back. Okay. All right, where are we? Subscribe. Yep. LOL. Let's go. The intro is so good. Thanks, dude. It sort of gets me. I like listening to it as well. It sort of gets me hyped up because it's, it gets you going. My phone crapped out on me. Oh, that's no good. Finbear. Gotta go plug it in, mate. I love it. From Mango Junkie. Almost couldn't make it. Now I hear nothing. Is it just me? I think it must be just you, mate, because I haven't heard anyone. Well, not that I've read any of the comments, but I'm pretty sure everyone's hearing me. Anyone know why ICOS is pumping? Good question. Is ICOS pumping? Is it? go have a look at ICOSA. Oops. X screener. One. Nope. That sucks. Why is it sending me there? Why is it sending me there? H. Okay. Let's get this up on the screen. Okay. ICOSA. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's doing okay, I guess. I don't know. I don't really follow the price of ICOSA that much. So yeah, I'm interested to know why it's pumping. If anyone knows, let us know. Sparkling fucks my nose up. Really? Sparkling wine or sparkling? This is water. This is lightly sparkle. It's very lightly sparkling water. There's no sugar. The only reason I drink it instead of, I've got water here. The only reason I drink that is it makes me feel like I'm doing something, like I'm having something, you know. But it's just basically soda water. That's right. Episode 150. It is episode 150. Can you believe it? We've been here for 150 episodes. 150 episodes. That is far too much time that we've been in front of the camera crapping on. It'd be nice if someone showed up, though. That would be nice. I think, look, I believe that Jex is on his way, but you know, we'll stick around for a bit longer, read some comments, and then we'll see how we go. What's up, 43? What's up, nashex.com? What's going on, brother or sister? That's one hell of an opening. Glad you like it. What's up, y'all? Now it's working. It was me all along. Hey, 43. Hey, Costa. Good, thanks. 43 AJ. Oh, by the way, guys, Klaz has a channel which you should go and subscribe to. Let me bring it up here. Actually, I can't do that. What am I doing? Let me go bring it up. This is it. This is Klaz's channel. There we go. Claz has been streaming a bit more, and she does good streams with very good guests. So just pop that in the chat, people. Make sure you go and subscribe. And while we're on the topic of subscribing to people, you guys have to go. Oh, where's my internet gone? All right, this is what you guys have to do. Everyone, listen to me. I want you to go and subscribe to DeFi with Doz. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Doz has been doing some live streams, but he's a long-standing member of the community. You should go and subscribe. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, now let's get back to where we were. Yeah, back to where we were. Better now that we have a proper time slot. Okay, right, yeah. So we had daylight savings change of time over the weekend. So, you know, our time changed, and that means that I don't think it changed over in WA or in some other places. So I think it makes it a bit easier for some people. Speaking of some people, let me bring up Jexa. How you going, brother? What's going on?
Hey, how you going? Sorry, my computer's all out of whack. I'm trying to get it all back in order and rebooting and whatever, but I'm here. I got here finally.
Nice. Good on ya. Good on ya.
Done well holding the fort by yourself there, buddy?
Yeah. We've been going through some of the things that have been happening in the last week. You know, going through it all. But I was just going through the chat. I only finished about 10 minutes ago, and I was just going through the chat from the beginning, just seeing what people were saying and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, definitely. You know, I agree with some of the things that they're saying. Yeah, fuck ANZ, absolutely.
Yeah, that's they're all ganging up on us now, aren't they? Everyone's having a crack.
Well, this was always going to happen, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was always going to get to a point where they were going to try and employ. But do you know what the beauty is of this stage?
Yep.
If they can't win in this phase of what's happening, then they're going to give up.
Yeah. Do you know what's even better? Okay, so we can all agree the US is definitely the most organized, or should I say the most coordinated in the way they're going after crypto with Gary and Lizzie and all those guys. They're all pulling whatever levers and calling in whatever favors they can, canceling bank applications for legitimate applications. And so they're attacking it on all fronts, which is okay. But what I find interesting is every country, like it's not globally coordinated. Everyone's trying to stake their own little claim. So you've got ANZ and NAB. They're doing a pilot with a stable coin, which I think was on Ethereum, if I'm correct. Then you've got whatever Circle's doing and whatever the hell the Fed's doing with Fed now and whatever they've got their little hooks in. So everyone's trying to grapple for their little piece of the pie. And they're still not bringing like a unified thing to market that would take the place of crypto or Bitcoin, or like could be a legitimate replacement for what already exists. They're just digitalizing the same shit they've already got. So I think the fact that they can't get all of that together and can't coordinate that will more than likely be their undoing. I think they'll all scatter and try try and cobble this thing together at some point. We've got systems that are decentralized, up and running. Haven't had our fair share of technical issues, but always as a community and as a sector, we resolve it all and figure it all out. Those guys are still got to go through all of that shit and things getting hacked and people having a crack at those networks. Like they've still got to have a go at all of that. So,
I think they'll just deploy some of those spamming. Imagine they do a chain and then they just deploy some spamming like bot on there just to spam the chain.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Like everyone's going to have, like, you release something like that in the wild and everyone's going to have a good shot at bringing it down.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun.
And that's, you got to give like props to, Bitcoin and Ethereum. They've been working in the wild for the longest. Yep. And the longer they've been working in the wild, the more robust you can say that they are. Because if there was a way to take it down or hack it, people have been trying. Like people would have tried to do it. And
how many bailouts have we had in the crypto sector
this year or this month or last month? In the crypto.
The only one I can think of, if you wanted to call it a bailout, would be Ethereum's fork way back in the day.
Yep.
If you took that as a bailout, and that wasn't, was it a bailout? I guess it was of sorts, but that will never happen again.
It was bailing out like one person, wasn't it? Wasn't it just one person?
No. I think there was a lot of people that had ETH locked up in.
All right.
The parity one.
Oh, right. No, I'm confused. Yeah. No, you're right.
But out of all the shit that's happened over the last cycle, we've had shit go wrong. Bridges get hacked, whole networks fail. But as an industry, we're still here, still standing, and we've survived. And the things that really got wrecked were all the centralized stuff. Everything else that was on chain was survived. So I think we've got a pretty big head start on running these sorts of networks. I've never seen government do technology really well.
No. That they will. Well, they can only rely on the private sector to do
that's
for
it.
them,
Yep.
and I don't think you can do blockchain in the same way that they do their stuff.
No,
like they do their stuff on like yearly contract basis, swapping people in and out, left, right, and center. I don't know how well that's. that would not work well, I don't think, with blockchain. You need dedicated teams who,
So a government within its own self. So even between states and federally, that's a shit show. And then even within a state, trying to get the different departments to communicate and coordinate is a friggin' nightmare. Try and do this shit globally and try and get them all on the same page and do this. It's very, very difficult. So I think they can jump up and down and make all the noises they like. I think what the grassroots has brought to market, you can't beat that at the moment. So I think they've got a long way to go before they're even close.
And I think they have to, like, just with the CBDCs, I think they sort of need to be careful that they don't get too, like, they're definitely coming. They're definitely on their way. They're going to come in, and there's going to be a hook with some bait on there to get you on.
There'll be some stimmy money go out for sure.
I got a letter the other day from a government office asking me to submit some stuff. I'm like, fucking why? Like, why do I need to do that? Like, I already do all that. I already do all of that. I do it with the ATO every single year. I do all of that. Why do I have to do it again with you guys?
Yeah. That's what I find. So they're bringing with the.
So I'm just like, I'm just like, I'm not going to do it. It's like, why? What's going to happen? Like, what's going to happen if I don't do it? Like, what?
So
Like,
that government, the Gov ID or whatever they bloody call it now, MyGov, they know everything about you already. Yet they're making you jump through all those freaking hoops again to put it in the system and re-qualify who you are. And they know everything about you already. Like, it amazes me that they make you jump through that shit. And that's why I think that's why I think they do tech really badly, is either their data matching or their data sharing between silos is just so shit that they have to keep getting you to re-enter information into each department. So yeah, I just can't see how they're going to bring this together and coordinate it and unify that at a state level, at a federal level, and then at a global level. It's decades away to do it properly.
So, we, crypto is legal in Australia because we get taxed on it, so we know it's legal. What do you think is going to happen, like with like just from the Australian, and sorry to the Americans listening, but we do need to have like a bit of an Australian lean on what we're talking about. So what do you think where do you think they're going to go with like capital gains and all that sort of stuff in Australia? Because it feels like, to me, I get the sense that they're in the we want to take more money from the people sort of phase. They're not worried about that at the moment. They're just like, let's just take a bit more if we can. Let's get a bit more. And meanwhile, on the like the marginal rates of income tax are set to go up to $200,000, like 30%, up to $200,000 or something in 24-25. So
I've been paying attention to that. So you think you can earn more before you pay more tax? Is that what you're saying, or they're ratcheting it the other way?
No. It's better for the worker.
Okay, all right.
It's
yeah, I've been paying attention.
But that's been on the cards for like 4 or 5 years. It's been like slated for 24-25. But
we must be heading into an election then, hey?
I think it was the last. I think it was the last mob that did it. So I don't know if. I don't know.
There's no free.
I've got a feeling they're not gonna. I've got a feeling they're not gonna let. They're gonna like roll that back before it comes in.
Oh, that might be like politically they might not be able to, but they'll take it somewhere else. You can give it on one hand and take it away on another. So.
Yep.
Yeah, which is generally how it works. Yeah. Look over here, something fuzzy over here, and then they'll yank it on the other side. Yoink it.
Yeah, just like they're planning to yoink it after the next election, I should say. They're planning to yoink it for superannuation, which let me have a bitch and a moan about that again and explain to everyone why that's such a bad idea. Why is it such a bad idea to tax people at a higher rate who have $3 million worth of value in their super or more? And it sounds like you're rich as fuck, doesn't it? That's the first issue I have with it. That if you say $3 million and you're going to get taxed at instead of 15%, you get taxed at 30%. If you have over $3 million in your like a value in your super, right? It's not if you earn $3 million or more in your super in a year. It's if you ever have more than $3 million worth of value in your super. From that point on, you are going to get taxed at 30%. Right. Okay. So why is that such a bad idea? Well, firstly, the superannuation system is a system that was put in place so that people would save up money in their own like pension account specific to them so that they would not need to burden the country when they retire. So if you so from that perspective, it makes no sense at all to be taxing people who have more than $3 million worth of value in their super more. Because if you think about it, a $3 million property that's making a 4% return on, let's say $3 million at 4%, what's that, $120,000?
I'll go with
a
it.
year? It's $120,000. Sounds like a lot of fucking money, hey? $120,000 sounds like a whole lot of money. Well, you got to take out land tax, right? So land tax is going to be in Victoria. It's going to be like 20 grand, 20, 30 grand in Victoria alone. And then you've got to take out, your tax, which is, they're going to be that 30%. And you're going to be left with like 70 grand. And you might be saying, well, 70 grand's pretty good. 70 grand ain't fucking very good. Okay. No. If you've been working your whole life to save stuff in your superannuation when you could have done fuck all and just relied on the government pension, you could have sat on your ass and done nothing and relied on the government pension, right? You could have been a fucking bludger and done nothing. So that's why it's a terrible, terrible idea, because you're punishing people who try to do more and try to save for themselves in the future, and you're taxing them more. Like at the very least, index it. Like, okay, $3 million, no worries, but index it so it goes up with inflation. Yeah. No, it's not going to be indexed. It's $3 million now. It's going to be $3 million in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid, man.
Yeah. People won't end up. Well, if the company tax rate's like 20, 25 or 26% at the moment.
Exactly.
So people will just set up different structures. Yeah, everyone
Why would you put money in your super? Exactly. Why would you put extra money into your super if you can just have it in a company and pay 25% instead of 30%? It doesn't make any sense, man. It doesn't make any sense. And it's a really, really dumb idea. And it's typical of, well, I don't want to get like political, but it's very typical of left-leaning governments to like do the whole class warfare thing. They really like doing the class warfare thing where they say,
you got to blame someone, mate.
Yeah. So, and look, another thing, $3 million sounds like a lot of fucking money now. If you're like my age in your 40s and you've got another 25 years, wait and see how much $3 million is in 25 years. You wait and see how much.
Inflation's about 6 or 7% reported, probably more like.
Not on property.
10
not on
12.
Property, dude.
Yeah.
On property, like that's inflation, not include, like they don't include property in inflation figures.
Yeah.
So, inflation on property is way, way more. I mean, in the last, I can tell you residential property in Victoria in the last like 5 years has doubled in the last like 5-6 years.
So if you're playing the game though, and you should be playing the game, you should be set up so that you're not a wage earner. So you should be have a company or be a contractor, or set yourself up so that you're in the most tax efficient manner you can. Like if you're a wage earner, you are not taking advantage of all the ways you can save tax. If you're a wage earner, you have to get your super paid into your super account where your employer does that. But if you're self-employed, you don't even have to contribute to super. So you can utilize that cash elsewhere. So yeah.
Depends how you pay yourself. Depends how
you
pay
yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
if you pay yourself through a company, then you have to pay tax. You have to pay the super contribution.
If you pay yourself as a wage earner, yeah. But there's other ways to take drawings out of companies and things. Got to get in the game and find a good accountant and start doing what all the rich guys do. They know how to work the system.
Yep. Absolutely.
Hmm.
You know, the one thing, I don't want to like just, this will be the last point I make about the super thing. The thing that I guess upsets me about it is that what they're doing is people are just not going to trust in that vehicle. They're not going to have any trust in that vehicle anymore.
That's why I don't contribute to super, because they change the rules every few years. Can't access it. There's so much overhead with having money in a super account. If you want to be able to control it yourself in a self-managed super, which I've got one of those, but it's not the vehicle I'm using to form my retirement on. So yeah, just get your head in the game, and there's some good books out there on trusts and structuring and things like that. So
but you know, they've just changed the trust stuff as well.
For what?
Distribution stuff.
Be very, very hard to change trust law.
They're changing the like, just with the distributions, you actually need to distribution. You'd actually have to do the distribution, and
it's always been that way. That's always been that way. If you've
but you could always give it back. You could always, like, so for example, you could distribute something to your parents.
Yeah.
Say your parents don't make a whole lot of money, or even if they do make something, you could distribute to your parents.
Yep.
And then your parents, and by the way, I'm not complaining about this. This is maybe this is one of the rules that they change, which is reasonable, you know. So you could distribute to your parents, and then you're dividing, like, let's say you're distributing $400,000. You've got your wife, and then you got your two parents. You distribute to them, so it's $100,000 each. So they're all paying like $100,000, like 25 grand tax each, roughly, for that. If you'd paid it just between you and your wife, it'd be much, much more. The tax would be much more. It'd probably be, I don't know, it'd be much more. So now they've changed it so that they're starting to look at it more that your parents could not then give you the money back. They can as a gift, they can give it back to you, but they're starting to get a little bit more pedantic about it.
I've always worked it as though if that money goes to them, they've got to pay the taxes on it, and it's once they pay the taxes, they can do whatever the hell they like with their money once they pay the tax on it. Yeah,
but now this is what I'm talking about, because that's the way it's always been. Like, it's always been that they could then give it back to you if they wanted to, once they paid the taxes on it, right? If that's what you were doing. But now they're like my understanding is, of what I've been told, I went to a couple of seminars, and they've been talking about this, and they're getting very pedantic about this stuff. And okay, you do it like 1 year, maybe a once off, but if you're doing it every single year, they could look at it.
How the hell are they going to police that?
I don't know, but if they see that you're doing the same thing every year, they'll look at it and say, "Hey, you're just doing that to minimize your tax," right?
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
That's legitimate. If all you got to do, get a credit card, get them to give you a credit card, mate, or a debit card. How the hell are they going to track that?
I don't know.
There's no way they're going to. Yeah. I can't see that ever happening. Yeah.
We'll see, man. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I hope not. I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I hope you're right.
Because there's always a way. You've just got to play within the rules, but find the most efficient way to play in the rules.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. They're not going to dud themselves, man. They use this shit as well.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen, but as we see with people like Elizabeth,
Kerry Packer had it right, didn't he, Dorsey?
Yeah, Kerry Packer.
He's a legend. Switching gears, I don't know if you've talked about this or if you want to talk about this. Richard's brother.
I know. Can I just say I know nothing about this. I've heard a few people saying Richard's brother. What the fuck are we all talking about here? Can someone please clarify what is going on?
Now, firstly, I don't even know if Richard's got a brother. Apparently, he does. So a video is kicking around on YouTube where he's done an interview with it was Tap and what was it, Romanian someone, or I can't remember who it was now. But yeah, there's a full like 2.5 hour interview with Shane Schuler. Now, I don't know, like I've never once heard Richard talk about having a brother or whatever. Yeah, I don't know where it's come from, but this dude is either he's a fucking psychopath or he's Richard's brother. I don't know. But
well, let's do some research on this before we start, we bring it to the masses. You know,
everyone must have seen it by now, though.
Not that this is the masses.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? Let's do some research, man. Let's do some research. I want to. Yeah.
I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but yeah, it was it was just a little bit bizarre. That's all. I watched it on like the dude. I don't know whether it's his brother or not, but the dude knew a lot about HEX and Pulse, and like he was informed. Like he was, he's very much knows what's going on in the community.
So why do people think that? Why are people thinking that? I don't get it.
No, because he came out and said he's his brother.
So he just came out and said, so all right, a guy who goes by that name, and he might have just put that name on. Like it could.
Yeah. Oh, it could be bullshit. Yeah, it sounds like Maddie's saying it's bullshit. T-Bird's saying it's bullshit.
Dude, it's sounding a lot like bullshit. But
who gets up and does that though? That's what I don't get. Like,
oh man.
Oh
well.
So someone else is saying it's definitely his brother.
What? It's definitely his brother. Based on what? Based on what?
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't think, man. I like.
So, Maddie, what have you got as evidence to say it's not though? Like you sound pretty convinced it's not. So there must be Eric Paul's uncle.
Richard said he's an only child.
That's true. So
Did
this
he?
guy's.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't. I vaguely recall we might have said that. I don't know, but maybe like if you
it's his brother from another mother.
Possibly, but if you got instant recognition, you got instantly recognized globally. You've done some pretty cool stuff. I mean, would you talk about your brother, or your family? Would you keep your family out of it, or
give it a week and he'll launch a coin?
Yeah.
Yes. This.
Yeah.
Hey man, do you know what? It's like, who cares? Like seriously.
Yeah. Oh no, it was just bizarre. Like it was like.
All right, how about this?
Bizarro world.
Is it going to make PulseChain launch any quicker? Fucking no. So I don't care.
Okay. He gave us a date as well. He told us when it was going to launch.
Did he really?
Yeah. HEX bro coin. You couldn't not discuss it tonight though. Like it was just weird. It was out of left field.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't do TikTok either. Yeah.
Why are you guys on TikTok? What's going on TikTok? Someone tell me what's going on TikTok. Just people dancing.
Yeah, that's what everyone's saying. I've never heard Richard talk about his brother, so yeah, it's weird. Very strange.
I'm gonna take a leaf out of Maddie Allen's book, and it's not his brother. I don't know shit, but until
Go watch
it's-
it, and then go watch it, and then Shane said he knows.
No.
Andrew
I'm not even going to watch it, dude. It's not nothing that happens in that video can prove to me that it's his brother. Like, unless Richard Hart walks onto this, and then I'm still skeptical with this AI shit. I'm still like face swapping. I'm still fucking skeptical if Richard Hart walks onto a thing with him and says, "This is my brother."
That's the problem. You can't believe shit now.
Can't. I would need to see a video from the man himself saying it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just not, it's not relevant. It's just not relevant in any way, shape, or form. Let's stop talking about it. It sounds like BS.
Yep. You had to talk about it. Though. Had to say something. It was out there. Validators. We've been doing a bit of that lately.
Oh, hang on, just before we move on.
Oh yeah, good.
Shane said he knows Andrew Tate and dated HVid and knows when Pulse will launch. Okay, well, I haven't seen this dude. I haven't seen what this guy looks like, but it just sounds like bullshit. Doesn't it just all sound like bullshit? It just sounds like bullshit.
He can speak Norwegian.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway. Thanks, Red. Was it Red Squirrel? Thank you. I'll check it out later. I'm not going to play it. It's not. I generally don't play videos that I haven't vetted, just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case. You never know what's in there. You never know what's in there. So yeah, were you gonna say something, Jackson?
Yeah. I've been
validators.
I've been spending a lot of time doing that this week. It's very technical. I've had to get up to speed on a lot of things. So I had to sharpen my Linux skills and Docker and all things networking. So it's been
sudo apt update. A lot of that.
What was that one? The
sudo
apt
update.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's been good. There's been a lot of people in the Pulse Dev Telegram group. Everyone's helping each other out. So there's a group of people that are going back and forth, and the validators are coming up thick and fast. So yeah, it's been, if you're not technically inclined, you might want to sit out the validator side of things until other things come along. It has definitely been a lot of hours I've put into it just to get it to this stage. And my node has probably only just synced probably an hour ago. That's been like 2.5 days or so. But yeah, everyone's out there.
I haven't even started yet, man. I haven't started yet.
There's lots of resources out there. Everyone's pretty much everyone that's built one has done a script, and someone I've bookmarked the tweet, but if anyone wants it, they can hit me up. But there was a tweet where someone's actually done a Medium article and collated everyone's different scripts and things like that. And there's some really, really good stuff out there. Some people have done a really good job on the documenting of it. So if you are interested in having a crack, there's a lot of support and a lot of information there. But yeah, just mentally prepare yourself. It's going to be a little bit of a steep learning curve.
There was a really good stream, and I listened to it from RH Max and David Feeder.
Mm-hmm.
On all of that, and I want to get into it, dude. I want to do it, but I just haven't had time. And I know that stuff is like you can't just like stop and come back to it. You need to have your head in the game, otherwise there's just too much stuff going on. You need to have your head in the game.
Yeah. Between helping my daughter with her homework for about 10 hours over the weekend and doing that, I was pretty much cooked by the time I'd done all that. You like I say, you've got to work your way through it, and you have an error, so you got to resolve that. And so
it's going to get easier, by the way. Stuff is new. It's always like this. It's always like this when it's new. it will get easier. It will get more streamlined. There's going to be like easier ways to do it. And that someone will build something or
you get someone that can just build a package and you can just install that package on that package.
I would still, if there are devs out there listening who think that they could build a DApp node package for PulseChain, please hit me up. Please hit me up. I'm interested in that happening, because I think it's a good idea to have different, like, just not only like you've got the 4 clients, right? But it's also good to have different implementations as well, like through different methods. So yes, Alex is building his own plug and play thing. But it's also good to have people doing JEX of what you're doing, which is just you build your own and just you know, compile the software and you do all that stuff. I think it would also good to have like something on DApp node. I think that
you want as much diversity as you can get. And it's been, if you're at all interested in it, I encourage you to have a go, because I've learned so much about the way ETH works now. Like I had never really, I'd sort of taken a back seat when ETH 2.0 launched and haven't really bothered to learn all about it. So yeah, it's been a bit of a learning curve just to understand the different clients you need and why and how all the validating works.
I'm about to tell you something. Actually, unread pirates, brother.
I don't know. I reckon we'll get a few people claiming to be his kid later on.
And they probably will be. What's going on, Unwrecked? Did I tell you that I caught up with Unwrecked 2 or 3 weeks ago in Melbourne? He was down. So we went out. We went and had a meal, and it was really, really good to see him in person. I've only that was the second time I've ever met him in person, but it was nice. It was just to sit down and have a nice lazy meal with him, and just chew the fat, so to speak.
Yep. Yeah, I think we need to organise a national meetup. I think it's been a while. We're all sort of spread out and couldn't travel around when in the peak of things that were going on in the last couple of years. So it'd be good to, now that things are all turned around, everyone's looking pretty chirpy and the markets are good and we can move freely. We should organise a big session in a capital city somewhere and all fly around. Do it in Perth. It's easy.
Do it in Perth. It's easy. We'll have to do a vote. We'll have to do an Australian vote to see how many hexagons are in, like, where they are located geographically. I can't help but think that Sydney's probably going to be the best place, even though I'm not from Sydney. I can't help but think that Sydney's probably going to be the best place, just because you've got like Queensland, you've got like Melbourne coming up. It's like almost in between everyone. You guys are just.
No, it's too, I wouldn't have it. I was joking about Perth. It's just hard getting around. Like basically everyone would have to travel, and it's pretty cool over here, but not very central.
Can we just get back to the validators for a second? Can you tell me, you built your own, right? So what you got? Did you get like an Intel?
Yeah, I won't. Can I bring it up? Let's see. Probably disconnect if I've got enough. So I've got this. Oh, here we go. This little beast here. He's just a little fella, but he's chugging away. So it's actually active now. That's working, and it's nice and cool and quiet. Can't even hear it. I think that whole setup run me. I think that was about. I got the top end. Basically, I've maxed it out. I've got all the best hard drive, the best Intel NUC, and the best RAM that you can get. So I think that was about $850 for the box. Talking another 300 for RAM and another, I think, 600 for the hard drive.
SSDs are killing. The SSDs are what kill you.
Crazy. Yeah. And it's
4 terabyte.
Had to get it from all different spots because it's just not like the parts aren't available easily, and that was So you're talking the best part of 1,600. What's that? About $1,800, I guess, to get it all together.
I've already got one, but I want to making me want to get another one. I'm a sucker for this stuff, man. When it comes to buying hardware, I just love, you know, when you get the box, when you get like all the stuff and it all arrives, it's like, it's like that unbox, the whole idea of unbox therapy is so real, man. When you get something like, oh, baby, open it up. It's like salivate. I love it,
no, it's
man.
been good.
It's
been good fun. Yeah, I used to do a lot of techie type stuff, so it's been a long time since I've built computers and things like that. I've been a little bit lazy of late, but yeah, I thought I'd
you could not get an
roll up the
easier build.
sleeves. And no, honestly, putting the hardware side of things was super easy. Had Linux installed on it. Man, that was fast. Like probably in under 20, 30 minutes, I had Linux all fired up and functional with a GUI on it and everything. So if I wanted to, I could get on the GUI.
What did you go? Did you go with? Did you say you went with Ubuntu?
Yeah, Ubuntu desktop.
Yeah. You went with desktop. You probably didn't need to.
Probably didn't need to, man. Like everything I've done is in command line, but just I didn't want to have a massive learning curve. I thought if I can get on there and
I'm pretty sure that system can handle the GUI. I'm pretty sure it can handle it now.
So
not like we're talking about a Raspberry Pi or anything.
Yeah. If people want to have a go, but they don't want to splash out, like the CPU on this is not even getting touched. So you could probably go for 1 or 2 levels down on the processor if you're ordering one of those, and that would save you $200 or $300. RAM, I'm running on 16 gig. I've ordered 64. 16's not enough. You probably want at least 32. Mine's maxed out at the moment, so you want 32. And probably a minimum of 2 terabyte drive. I went for 4 because I just didn't want to mess around later.
Yeah.
But you get away with the 2. So I reckon you could probably comfortably get that for about 1,500, I reckon. So you'd save yourself $300 or $400, I guess. But that would be a solid little machine. Yeah. If you're running a Windows machine, you can actually do it on your Windows machine as well with the Windows Linux subsystem thing. That's just a thing you can install on your Windows machine. So if you really just want to have a tinker with it and see if you've got any inclination to keep going, you can do it on your Windows machine. A little bit trickier though.
What can you do? What's this Linux subsystem?
Yeah, so I think it's called WSL or WLS. I think it's WLS. So that's Windows never used to have a Linux kernel on it, so you could never actually install Linux apps and things like that. But now that's all built into the actual operating system.
Can't you just use PowerShell?
No, because PowerShell's not running the Linux kernel.
Oh, right. Because there's Linux commands that you can use in PowerShell.
Yeah, so you actually install Ubuntu on your Windows machine. Like it runs that on your machine. So you can access all your files off your Windows machine and everything from within each operating system. And
is it like what is it? The dual? It's within. So you open up like
it's within
VM.
Yeah.
It's like a VM,
no, it's not a VM. It's literally like the kernel's there. It must be running on some sort of virtualization layer, I guess. But it's pretty transparent. Like you just install that and you open up a terminal essentially.
It's like a window.
Yeah, you just literally.
It's as if it's a VM, Ben. It's like the way a VM works is like you've just got like a window with an operating system in it.
Well, it's not even that. I think it's more integrated. Like literally, it's like bringing up the command prompt. You just bring up a Linux terminal.
I've never messed around with that. I need it. Yeah. Is that on Windows 10?
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, just search for. I think it's WLS. I think. WSL.
This is going to be responsible for me getting less work done over the course of next few days.
Man, when I found out that was on Windows, I wasted a lot of time on it.
Oh man, is there anything I need to know? This is going to save me like a couple of hours of messing around. WSL.
No, it's pretty easy. When it first came out, it was a bit of messing around. It's all, but yeah, have a go, man. Save you If anyone wants to have a go at running firing up a validator.
What's the benefit of doing it on? What would be the benefit of doing it on Windows?
Zero hardware costs. Like if you've got a machine kicking around, or even if your own machine's powerful enough, you could open it up, get all the commands from my script or DFED script, or there's another one that's even better than mine and his for sure. It's really well documented. Get one of those, have a crack at it. There's literally no hardware cost here. Then you can just have a go and see if you've got any interest in it.
WSL.
The more we have, the stronger the network.
Yeah. So, how long did it take to sync? 2 days.
Yeah, I had a few issues where it stopped syncing, and then I went out and done a few things and come back and then had to troubleshoot it and all that. So it was probably a whole half a day where it wasn't actually operating, and then I finally got my shit together and worked out why.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a lot of people have been through all the different errors now. So yeah, you've got heaps of people that can help.
Do we want to have a look at some token prices?
I haven't got anything set up to go. I've had to reboot my machine, but if you've got something, I think Tangent was going to come in at one point, so he's probably got all that. Is he in the back room at all?
No, he was. He said he wasn't coming in tonight.
No, he sent us a message in our private chat.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yep.
Well, I think he was coming in. He said, "You guys still on stream?" I just got home, so I think he was coming in.
Let me bring it up.
I've really got to get rid of that RSPCA thing, don't I?
Yeah, dude. It's not that hard. You could do it right now. Yeah, you could do it right now, man. It's really not that hard.
Change avatar.
Yeah, so Dex Screener. Let's have a look here. Let's change this over here. I like changing him to purple. I reckon they look better. Is it just me? No, you're there. Okay.
Yep.
So we're sort of like, well, I don't want to say it, but this sort of looks dead cat bounce-ish. What's going on here, man?
Okay.
Tell me.
What I think you probably need to have a look at is Ethereum and Bitcoin, because they tell a pretty good story at the moment.
Oh, I can't do that on this. I can look at. Can I look at Ethereum here?
You can do WETH, I think.
Are they pumping?
Yeah. They're just coiling up.
Ooh.
Or is that just launched as? What's the price on that? It's
1874.
If you go out further though, like it's at a critical point and it's looking pretty juicy. I don't think this chart goes back far enough on Dex Screener.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
when I'm looking at Bitcoin and ETH, I usually use TradingView.
Yeah, let me go to TradingView. TradingView.com.
They're looking pretty juicy, that's for sure. So if it's through, like we could see ETH rip up to about 2K, right? Just under 2K, like 1980 or something. It's pretty good.
I got
Sandy, 32 is the minimum I would use. I've got away with 16 and it runs, but it's like maxed out the whole time. The memory swap is always maxed out as well. So 32 is probably going to save you a lot of heartache, I think.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. There's all these points here. This one, this one, this one, this one. Yeah.
Like it's at a level, if it gets through that, I reckon the lid's going to come off it. And it's just like that's a big ascending triangle as well. So over the longer time frame. So it looks pretty juicy.
And if it doesn't, is it going to come back to this area here, you reckon? This 1, 2?
If it fails, would it? Yeah, it's probably not that far. I'd draw a line.
You probably wouldn't feel confident until it's like around over the 2050 to 2100 sort of.
What happens if you go
pump past this area here?
What happens if you put it to a weekly?
Do that weekly.
I don't know if it changes it or not.
Should I put it on those different candles? What are those other candles? These ones here.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's right at that level now, where if we get a good pump, that'll break a very significant level.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all eyes on that, I reckon, if you just for the broader market. I think Bitcoin's coiling up, not as Bitcoin doesn't look as nice as that.
Let me bring it up as well. BTC, USD. I always like Bitstamp because they've got
they've been around the longest. Yeah,
they've just got such a long chart. You can go back. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so that looks like it's already. What are we doing? That's on a weekly. Can we zoom in a little?
Yeah, hang on. That's a 28th of December 2020. Hang on, let me just go back to this one for a second. Okay. The first time ETH was at this point was in Feb 2021. And the first time that BTC was at this point was at the end of December 2020.
Yeah, which is usually what
Similar.
happens is ETH lags, yeah.
Yeah. So you wanted to see BTC, yeah?
Yeah, so they're both at pretty key levels there, where they've got a lot of resistance. So, but do they get through it? Like if they get through it, that's going to be pretty monumental. But Bitcoin might have a little bit more of a harder task to get through. But it's been coiling up there, like it's consolidating there for what's that? It's over about a month that it's been consolidating there at that level. Who knows? Can we get enough gas in the tank to push through? The ETH chart looks heaps better, but obviously if Bitcoin shits itself, then that'll drag ETH down and the rest of the market, no doubt.
Yeah. So much going on in the macro at the moment.
But do you think that's negative for crypto?
No, and I didn't mean that it was necessarily a negative thing, but there's so much going on that I think it's hard to call. Look, it could be super bullish for crypto. What's going on? It could be super, super bullish for it. Especially the big ones, but like BTC and ETH. But ultimately, when those do well, that ends up flowing into the altcoins anyway.
Oh yeah. So you've had big institutions just open up Bitcoin to their clients. Was it Fidelity or someone that just opened the book so that all of their clientele can now get Bitcoin? So there's I think the channels are there if people want to get into it now. It's just whether the broader market, the traditional market, sees value in it or whether they whether they need to sort of see it pumping before they move any funds across. What's your thoughts on the ETH getting unlocked? Everyone staked ETH getting unlocked. Positive, negative?
I feel like if the more upgrades that are there at the top, if that happens soon, I think if they like put that in, would need to, it might delay PulseChain a little bit extra, because wouldn't they need to just double check? They'll need to check that code's not going to mess with whatever's going on with PulseChain.
Yeah, I don't know. I think over time, network upgrades are going to get released. So
but the difference is that if this happens before the fork, then they're going to.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like that, it's already there. It's already in there, so they'll need to.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
they'll need to play with it, and then if it happens after, then they can hold it back until they're confident. Do you know what I mean? So I think that.
When's that? So that's on is it the 12th of April, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it should be the 12th, but you know, who knows, man? Who knows if that's when it actually happens?
Yeah, I see your point there. Because you're forking, you want to make sure that it works with.
Because it's different. Yeah. Like it's got to do with the staking, and like maybe it won't matter. Maybe it wouldn't matter, but I just think that I feel like because it's got to do with staking and the numbers are different, then.
But whatever,
it's not like they're going to look at it. They're going to definitely look at it and just make sure that it's right.
Actually, I don't know. I don't think you'd have to. Like if they push the button on it now and it forked before the 12th, then they could introduce it at their leisure after they test it all. And so if the chain forked now before the 12th, then they would have their own timeline to when they do the Shanghai upgrade. They could vet it on private testnet and then introduce it. But like
every time ETH makes a change, it flips the script somewhat for PulseChain.
How so?
Because they're like the Pulse devs are working with what's there now.
Yeah,
and they're working with everything based on that. So if Ethereum devs change that starting point, then all the changes that the Pulse devs are going to make may not work in the same way. Like I'm just like I'm not a dev, so I'm just talking. I'm talking from just like a theoretical perspective, like because this stuff is obviously very complex.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. If they fork before Shanghai, whenever they like at their Asia, but if Shanghai comes in and then you want to fork, you're probably right. You probably need to do a bit of testing and make sure that doesn't break anything with our our units being so large.
Yeah, I mean, and that might not even matter. That the unit might not even have anything to do with it.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, look,
not.
it's we're sort of like speaking so far out of.
Yeah.
I'm just like thinking on a. In theory, you would think that if they fork before the changes are made, then they will. If it makes no difference, they will just like roll them in pretty quickly. If it does affect, what's going on with PulseChain, then they might need to take a little bit more time to make sure that they get, that they doesn't change anything up too much.
And let's face it, we already know the date now anyway.
Yeah. That's funny.
So back to the original question for ETH. is everyone's stakes getting unlocked, positive or negative price wise?
Well, some people are going to sell for sure.
It was
For
what?
sure.
How many years ago did everyone start staking? 2 years ago?
Good question.
Because it'd be interesting to see what the price was when everyone. I thought it was around the 1400 mark. So, like, if staking became available at $4,000 or anything above 2,000, I think you'd probably get people dumping. But at the moment, I think we're probably at a price point where, unless you were desperately in need of cash, you wouldn't dump. You've sat through a whole bear market.
What's up? Maybe
I'm late, and I thought I'd just come by and say hi. It's all good if you're ending soon.
No,
let's ask Tangent. Maybe he knows.
Do you know when? How long's this been going for? Did you move the time? Did you move the start time?
No. Same start time.
It's different price. Different price.
It's different for you guys. It's just here that the time changed. So,
like daylight saving shit.
Yeah.
Cool. What's going on?
So we're just talking about Shanghai upgrade. Price positive or negative for ETH? People going to dump or?
I don't think it is predictable because there's the whole things are priced in. So knowns are priced in. And there's that stuff we talked about before where it's like the ability to unlock might make more people comfortable to stake who didn't want to do it before because they were like, I'm not going to put in if I don't know when I can get it back. So there might be some people who actually start staking because of the ability to unlock. And then there's other people. That is a
really good point.
Then if you look at, I guess another thing worth noting is if you look at the price around the time that you were allowed to start locking it.
Yeah, that's what we're just talking about.
We've gone up, but not by heaps. So I don't think, it's not like some people be like, oh my God, I've got all these mad gains that I say with compared to something like Gox where it's like some people are like, okay, this amount of money that I was just buying weed with is now like enough to buy a house or something like that. And they're like, give me the Bitcoin back so I can be rich or whatever. That's not happening here.
We're just trying to work out when ETH staking actually started. And I was saying like 2 years ago, but could have even been longer.
That sounds about right. Yeah, it was going back a while.
Because everyone's been locked up for a while.
I'm sure that's able to be looked up, when the actual date was. Was it 2020? Was it 2020?
Well, I just done a quick Google and came up with 2022, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I thought it was earlier than that.
Yeah. So it would have was it the Beacon Chain launch? Is that what it would have been?
I think on the 1st of December 2020.
Because they had to actually launch the chain.
Because it was Beacon Chain.
Yeah, it says launched in 2020. Yeah, so everyone's been locked up for 2+ years, nearly 3 years. 15.
Well, there's already something here about if you were staking ETH prior to 2021, like August 2021. So it definitely wasn't 2022.
Yeah. December 1st looks like it launched.
Of 2020.
So, must be 2020.
2020. Yeah.
So if we go back, have you still got your chart up, 43? If we go back to December 2020.
No, I got rid of it. Got rid of the chart.
Shut me down if I bring up anything you guys have already talked about, but did you notice that the last Richard Hart Pulse update had no impact on the price?
I
didn't notice it.
Didn't pay attention yet, but there was.
I think
there was one account that was absolutely hammering it though at the time. So I've had a few isolated accounts that have smashed the price down, but on the flip side, there's been some accounts that have been buying pretty big chunks of like 1,000 ETH worth or something. So that's not a bad little entry.
So Wake Up HEX starts at in about 25 minutes. So guys, we
Mhm.
know we've got 25 minutes to, and then
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna have
that's
to-
cool. I assumed I would be arriving just as you guys were shutting down. Hey, there was some fake stuff that got circulated about CZ that was like they did like a photoshopped, and that's not even using AI. That's just using Photoshop. Imagine how crazy shit is going to get once people start doing deep fakes. It's gonna be nuts.
I think people are just not going to believe anything anymore. Don't you reckon we're going to get to the point where
quickly,
you just be like,
very quickly, people are going to just
I don't believe it.
be like,
It's
I don't believe
bullshit.
anything. Yeah, which
You
is
know?
probably a good thing for crypto. Maybe that's a good thing for everyone to stop, because we kind of want we want people to think for themselves and stop like buying and selling crypto based on like real short-term news bullshit, right?
From the crypto perspective, yeah, absolutely. From the just knowledge perspective, like general knowledge, and getting knowledge, that's not great, because then everything gets questioned, like everything, like even
you know
you're
what I was
reading
thinking?
journals, like medical journals or whatever.
Like there are people criticizing the chat AI of being biased and giving these examples of like, tell a joke about women, tell a joke about men, tell a joke about Trump, tell a joke about Biden, seeing these things and then posting them. But I saw an interview with the guy who, like, one of the founders of that open AI, and he sounded pretty convincing that because it's giving different answers to everyone, sometimes it will have like outliers. It like tries to be unbiased, but that's subjective, right? That each person is going to, like, if you tell someone what they want to hear, like if I say, tell me about Bitcoin, and it says Bitcoin's great, I'm gonna be like, yeah, this thing's like unbiased. But so there's that. And I was thinking, when you ask the AI a question, it's the first time where, so like even YouTubers, so there's financial incentives, right? But even YouTubers that don't have financial incentives, they've got other incentives like getting clicks, getting views, having people like their content and stuff like that. Whereas the AI has no external incentive structure to lie to you. Like it doesn't get money, it doesn't get clicks, it doesn't get, so from a purely incentive structure point of view, the AI theoretically should be
but
less prone to biases.
Behind every AI is a human.
Yes.
So
yes, I mean, yeah, there might be biases in the training data. There might be biases in the coding, in the control, but at least there's no bias inherent in, like, the AI doesn't think to itself, oh, if I lie or if I make this more dramatic or more controversial, then I'm going to get some kind of advantage.
No, and that's what I think people were pointing out, is you can put in the exact same sentence structure but change who the object of the sentence is,
and get it completely. Yeah.
I think everyone's in this phase of just thinking of what AI could ruin, or what's bad about,
like the fear.
Everyone's in this phase right now. But what about the good stuff? Like, what could AI do that's awesome? Like, I can give you an example. It's a bit of a, well, it's sort of joking around. But if you ever always wanted to be in a porno, you could do a porno now and then just blame it on, like, just say it's a deep fake AI.
So, and just plausible deniability.
Plausible deniability. So now all this shit that you could never do before, you can now do, and not worry about it.
Those videos of when I was in Thailand, I can write them off.
Oh, no more blackmail. No one can blackmail you anymore. No one can blackmail you. You're like, bro, I'll just tell everyone it was a deep fake. Go fuck yourself. Whatever. You're not getting any you get 0 Bitcoin ransom. You get 0. I thought you were actually going to say the opposite. I thought you were going to say, if you ever wanted to be in a porno, but you didn't want to actually do it, you could just deep fake yourself onto a porno and be like, look, I'm in a porno. But you were saying the opposite, like to go and actually be in a porno, and then
like if
you
you
go both ways,
wanted to do it,
you could go both ways. Yeah, you go.
No, I was actually thinking, because I remember, like, many moons ago, you were you told a story about you were wanting to do a porno.
No, I
Do you
got
remember
asked
that
to. I
story?
got asked to be in to set up an OnlyFans, like do a couple's OnlyFans, because the chick wanted to do OnlyFans, but because of her career, she couldn't do it because she would risk getting losing her job. So she was like, "Why don't you do an OnlyFans in your name, and then we can do it like a couple's thing, and then my career's not at risk." And I was like, "Yeah, all right," but then we didn't end up doing it.
But now. Her career is no longer at risk.
Oh, true. I just can't wait. You go.
I reckon the AI that deals with divorce is going to get pretty busy.
Well, did you hear about these ones where you can put an earpiece in and the AI tells you what to say? Like if you're on a date or if you're in a courtroom, or if you're like, you tell the AI, like, this is what I'm doing, guide me through it. And because it can listen to what's being said and then tell you what to say based on what's going on, either on a date or in a court. And they reckon in a courtroom, it's like, from their testing, it's like 99% win rate, because it just knows the best strategy, which is insane. Wow. Like that becomes, Your Honor, I've decided to represent myself. And then it's just like, boom, 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 AI lawyer.
Yeah, I reckon lawyers, coders, those sorts of professions, they're going to be the first ones that get the shit ripped out of them from AI, I reckon. Any professional services type stuff, if it gets good enough, and it seems to be heading that way pretty quick. There was one guy, I think he got the Chat GPT to create a document where it was like a legal document, not like a cease and desist, but something else where he actually, I think someone owed him money or hadn't paid him for a service, and he got the AI to actually generate the legal document to send to this guy, like the letter of demand sort of thing, and he got the money straight away.
They were significantly swayed by like the threat of legal action from a fake lawyer.
Yeah. So
I heard a coder, I heard a software dev say, if you're a dev and you're worried that AI is going to take your job, then you're not a very good dev.
No. Oh, look, you can get it to do stuff, but some human's still going to have to sanity check everything.
Check it, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't trust it. Like, it may get to that stage where you can, but it's nowhere near it. Excuse me.
I'm a bit worried if the AI can code for itself. Like if the AI has access to the internet and it can just start coding, and it can just like create new exploits, like hack into stuff, go and do.
I think it's a ways, a bit of a while off that, man.
Yeah.
I would compare it to, think of AI like a machine that can build a car. You know, like those machines that can be on a conveyor belt.
I think it's going to happen faster than you think, though.
Yeah, they're very single purpose. They are confined by a very tight set of rules. And physical movements. But this is moving pretty quick, man. Like, there's some pretty crazy shit. Everyone's putting in plugins to this thing already, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's going to be plugins. I can't wait for that shit. Like where it'll be internet connected.
Yep.
Yeah.
Already seen some pretty crazy stuff come out of it.
I heard
that'll be a job, is if you know how to talk to an AI efficiently and get it to do things. That's the new skill. Like, that will be the skill that replaces maybe being a coder, is you know how to manipulate the AI.
Richard Hart tweeted out saying, can you ask the AI to tell you how to do good prompts to the AI? And I did it, and it does it. It gives you like a
I watched a really good I watched a YouTube video the other day, and it was basically the AI training itself and coaching itself on how to refine a prompt and to get right down to the nitty gritty of what someone was after. And so
IB19
skills in how to use.
IB19 says that AI is wildly overrated in their opinion, and I didn't know that Bluey was using a different screen name at the moment. All right, Maddie
That's
says AI will hack people's BTC and buy HEX. Yeah.
There was a question a little while ago that I had up, but we didn't get to it. It was. What was it? It was up a second ago. There it is. Thoughts on US selling their 41,000 BTC seized from Silk Road?
It'll go OTC, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So again, like kind of maybe priced in or kind of priced in or completely priced in. They're likely to do OTC because they're not stupid. They want to get as much money out of it as possible. Like they're financially incentivized not to just market dump. But yeah, they reckon, aren't they going to sell lots over the next year or so?
So do they take that money and then just it goes into consolidated funds?
Keep it. They just keep it.
They've got a few big holes they've got to fill in. So I don't think it's even going to touch the sides.
Yeah, chuck it towards the US, their debt. Chuck it towards their debt.
So for whatever crime that whatever so-called crimes that Ross Ulbricht committed, the US government is profiting from those crimes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking.
Essentially.
Yep.
Did you hear there was a Silk Road user who worked out a way that he could withdraw more Bitcoin than he actually had in his account, and so managed to withdraw this huge amount of Bitcoin, became a Bitcoin whale. And then by the time the government arrested him, like caught up with him, the Bitcoin was like worth in the billions of dollars. So they got like another $3 billion or something worth of Bitcoin off this other dude who wasn't Ross. Pretty crazy. I don't know. Maybe some of those details I just said might not be accurate, but like the rough strokes of that story are correct.
So guys, earlier on and we'll just probably after this topic, we'll probably have to wind it up. But we spent a bit of time talking about, at the beginning of this stream, ANZ and their move towards cashlessness, and how, that I said I wasn't really a fan of that. We're not really fans of that move, but it's going in that particular direction in Australia. It seems pushing us towards CBDC. If that's the direction they're going in, and they're gonna like be able to control the money, is it fees? Could you say that further down the line, could we just get to a point where we just don't even have money? We're just like, you guys are like green, categorized as green. You get to live in the nice houses. You get the nice food. You get the nice, like all the things. You guys are categorized as orange. And you guys are categorized as red. But I'm thinking, think into the future, long into the future, right?
No, I'll tell you why they won't do that is because their like mate can become someone who they want to control and punish. And if you have a broad categories like that, like these guys are just green lit and they just get to live like kings, then
only if you behave yourself.
Technically, I guess you can you can threaten them with a downgrade and
that's the whole point.
Orange.
No, that's the whole point.
But I think
coercion to get the good shit. Be a good little boy and get the good shit.
But you want to be able to control companies as well. You want more resolution than just like keeping it as a credited system that they have full control over, i.e. a CBDC, is so much more effective because it means businesses and individuals have their own score of points, which is worth money. And then they can incentivize businesses to behave the way they want, punish businesses as well as individuals. Whereas if you have this like low resolution system, you lose a lot of the ability to control things in detail. And that's what they want. They want more control, not less control.
What could be more control than people not even being able to choose like what they get? They just, this is what you get. That's like the ultimate control. It's like you don't even get to
but then
choose
what about
anymore
this? What
we
about
have.
company? What about companies? Are you going to do the same thing? Have like green, red, blue?
I think at that point in time, there's no longer
there is no companies.
There is no companies. There's just like
So
entities.
you're kind of mixing communism in with like dystopian CBDC shit. I mean, look, it's all possible, but as in, I would hope that people would start to fight for their freedom well before that.
If we want to fight for our freedom, it needs to be now. It doesn't need to be then. It needs to be now.
I guess my point.
This is the thin edge of the wedge right here.
My point is, like, I don't think the system that you're suggesting gives them any more control than just the CBDC system. Like that gives, like, it's not like an additional layer of control. It's just slightly different. Like it's a different way of implementing it. But ultimately, it
does give them more control.
It's the same shit with less. Well, isn't it less resolution though? Because you can do more.
Sorry, what was
for the user? For the user, less resolution because you don't get to choose anymore. Like the stuff that you get, you live in the nicer area. You get the nicer stuff. Maybe you get more choice.
That won't work with companies because companies aren't like.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think at that point there are no companies, dude.
Oh, so no company.
You can't, I don't think you can do that. You're not going to be able to get rid of centuries of law and stuff like that. It's very, very hard.
Dude. And also the people at the top, like the people who are making the rules, they want to own shit, right? The politicians, they want. Look at Pelosi. She's got like $200 million or $120 million. Like they want to be able to still own shit. And if they make the system like that, then they also can't own shit. Dude, I think CBDC is enough. Like that's already for them. I think
they call her Hairy Nancy.
I did not know that.
I don't want to know why.
people are starting to wake up to this idea that a career
Google translate Pelosi.
People are starting to wake up to this idea that a career politician should not have hundreds of millions of dollars. It doesn't make any sense. And that they're rorting the system at the detriment of everyone else to get rid.
But no one ever fucking does anything about it, man. That's the problem.
Like this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was off by like 2x. I thought she was like 120.
I thought I've seen something where
salary $285,000 a year.
Yeah, I thought she was like 120 mil.
67 mil net worth. And this is the one who's anti-crypto. You know, this is the anti-crypto one.
Yeah, you'll notice that the people who are most anti-crypto are the people where the system has been very kind to them, that they've been very favored by the system. And so the idea of crypto and a more equitable system is horrific to people like that. So
it represents a loss of control over where she's milking the teat. So if you give up that.
Guys, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours, but let's do some final words. My
final words. ETH when it got staked, ETH was $730. So it's now over double that.
Yep.
So
it's almost 3x. Almost 3x.
Yep. Yep. But I think if you had been told you can lock up your HEX, but we've got no idea when you're going to be able to unlock it, I don't think you would have been keen to lock it. So you got no idea how much it's going to earn, and you got no idea of when you're going to be able to unlock it. You may not be able to unlock it. We don't know. We just that network upgrade may not happen. So I think the effect that now everyone knows that they can unlock it easily, I think will probably be price positive for ETH, and because people will actually be able to lock it without the risk of losing it. Is my call. That's all I got to say on that one. That's my closing note.
Tangent.
Crypto markets have been ranging sideways since the 18th of March. And if anyone who follows Ivan, who has become quite favorable among the Hexicans because he mentions HEX and PulseChain almost every day, he showed an overlay of the Wyckoff accumulation pattern over like a medium-term Bitcoin chart. and showed that it has followed it nearly exactly, like to a crazy level of accuracy. And so if that plays out, we are already in phase E, I think, which is basically the final phase. And it's like, that's the final phase before it just goes moonbound. So hope and pray that plays out.
Before you came on, we were looking at the ETH chart. Have you had a look at that lately? That looks pretty good.
I haven't looked at it lately. I've basically just been looking at Bitcoin and HEX. Oh yeah, look, it actually just pumped. Just pumped. You guys might have not even seen this yet. This is while you guys were on stream. This thing pumped. It's like went all the way up to almost to 1,700 while you guys were on stream.
Yeah, it went to 1,800.
No, almost to 1,900.
Yeah, well, 1880, I think we got up to.
Yeah.
We were looking at it just before.
Crazy.
But do you remember, Tangent, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, you and I were talking about the Mayer multiple, but having a HEX version of it? I was watching it. I was listening to a stream with Axis, Alive, Crispy, and Sloth. There's a guy called Sloth.
It's a very easy one to do because
they did it.
It's the math is so simple.
They brought it up. So I just thought, well, we're not the only ones who are talking about it or thinking about it. So they've done it. But I think they're thinking of actually getting rid of they did it with the opening year. And I think they're thinking of getting rid of the opening year because it's not like it sort of skews the data.
Do you mean while the AA was open?
Yeah. I think that they were saying that it could perhaps skew the data. So they were thinking of maybe getting rid of that first year.
The problem is if you start doing stuff like that, it's like, where does it end? Because you can be like, oh, this was a black swan event. We should omit this from the data. This was.
I think it's legit. That's like a one legit thing to say. I think that would be
but why? You've still got market forces determining the price. Just because the AA is open,
it's not.
Do you mean big payday, or do you mean the entire year?
No, I mean the entire the year of the 500 million a day. There was 500 million coins coming onto the market every day.
What about Pulse launch? What about when the token does the split on Pulse and HEX?
I don't know.
I think it's a dangerous, as in I wouldn't. I would just say, look, there's always crazy things going on. You have to either use the data or don't. You can't start being like, oh, this shit over here, we're just gonna eliminate that because of this and this reason. Because nothing is consistent. In the background, you've got crazy shit changing in macro and other crypto things and black swans firing off every few months. It's not like you can say, oh, during this period that was different, and then everything else, all the other factors were just consistent through the rest.
You know what? I think you're right. I think you can just do. I think you could just do multiple different versions. You can say, well, this one is everything, and then you can say this one is without launch, and you can just have more, like you said, more resolution.
Have you thought that maybe it doesn't work for HEX? And trying to.
That's a bit like the S2F guy. He started making new models and saying, oh, look, I'm going to do this and this, but this is the original model, and here's why I'm changing it, and these are the new assumptions. But you can look at this one or this one, as long as you're stating clearly your limitations, your assumptions, etc., then I think there's no wrong answers. Sorry, what was your question, Dexter?
I know you're trying to wind up. Plan B's out touting his model again.
Look, he lost. You can't do that where you're like I've changed it to make it more accurate. I've changed it. Now it's more accurate. I've changed it. Actually, the first one was actually seems to actually have been the one that was actually most accurate. If you didn't have the balls to stick to it and say this, we're sticking with this. Yeah, sorry.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Just before we go, guys, Crispy, check your info on your perpetuals. That seems to be a little bit out of whack. Last time I checked. Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys,
Love
we
your
have
work.
to wind it up. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Thank you to everyone in the chat. We appreciate you. Thanks, Jexa. Thanks, Tangent. We will see you
Peace.
next week. Yeah, guys, chill out because I want to have a chat.